It's another warrior match, folks. It's another one. We're not rigging it. This is a win and in that is very important for both of these players. But before we get to that, we need to be talking about what is on the line here. We've got some immense prizing here. Michael, hit me on the hip. Break it down.
Oh, we got $400 for first place, $200 for second, $100 for third through fourth, and $50 for fifth through eighth. But of course, the AGE Open points that are on the line, and in this game, especially important, 30 for the winner, 25 for second, 20 for third through fourth, fifth through eighth get 15. And then it drops off 12, 8, and 1. And I have some news, at least I believe Paul thinks that getting top 8 might lock him for the Players' Championship. So he thinks this is a really important game for him, and I do not disagree.
So, yes, it is a redemption match for Paul Selinske, who we saw on stream just last round against Evan Bridges. It's also a grudge match between two players that are very well placed in the Players' Championship. We got Chinn, who is at second place, and Paul Selinske, who is at 14th. So it's definitely more important for Paul to make this top 8 than it is for Austin. But more than that, it is a grudge match. These two players faced off in the finals at the February AGE Open, which was the Hunted Limited. That is the one that Austin has ever won. So he's trying to do a victory lap on Dorinthea Ironsong, which is our warrior for this match. And Paul Selinske is trying to cement himself as the Azalea that could and get over the top.
A little bit of a redemption for Paul, second time on camera.
Yeah, and he is becoming no stranger to the feature match area. I mean, we saw him, I believe, twice at Battle Hardened San Diego. Yeah. We saw him, obviously, in the finals of the AGE Open that he went up against Austin in. So
Yeah.
Paul is...
He's making a name for himself
this season. If there
this
is
season.
somebody that has, had an amazing arc in Flesh and Blood from our local scene, Paul is exemplary in that fact.
Doing great and really sticking to his guns, Azalea through and through.
Absolutely. And if this is not enough AGE action for you, we will be coming at you next month back in LA. That's June 14th. And then we also have another open happening just tomorrow. That's right. It's an AGE doubleheader weekend. Those folks in Taipei are not the only ones that are having Flesh and Blood fun. This same format is going to be run back in New England at Great Stories Comics and Games. Unfortunately, this one will not be streamed, but we will be releasing top 8 deck lists so you can see what the New England meta is brewing. We got the likes of Noah Bagelman, Elise Sims, and Brian Gottlieb's brother.
Oh, I didn't know
right.
that.
There's another Gottlieb. It's
That's
Justin
awesome.
Gottlieb, and he almost took down one of the AGE Opens that we haven't streamed in New England.
Well, you got to think if they're cut from the same cloth, that guy's got to be pretty good at Flesh and Blood.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. He's also a Florian abuser, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if he's reeling from the Germinate ban. I wonder if he's shaking his fist at his brother.
From what we've seen today, it looks like a lot of the Florian players are like, we went from being completely broken to being really good. So not a lot of issues from what we've seen, and a lot of people still think that this guy's got what it takes to win. So...
Well, we're not talking about Florian right now, are we, Michael? We're talking about Dorinthea Ironsong versus Azalea, ace in the hole. Paul Selinske on the left side of your screen this time versus Chinn on your right. Maybe the change in seating will help Paul get there in the end.
And I love the fact that this is a rematch from the first and second place match at our draft open. So seeing these two players sit down in front of each other is exciting as we see Chinn with the double hatchets. Actually a deck that Paul really, really likes, the hatchet Dorinthea.
Okay, starting off is Paul Selinske with a Ravenous Rabble. 4 go again after revealing a Heat Seeker on top. Austin immediately hucking those dynamos out onto the combat chain, something we're going to see a billion times this game because this Dory deck really just wants to be a value goblin and send hatchet, refresh dynamos over and over again, more so even than Kasai and Fang, her warrior counterparts.
Yeah, and I know that being able to block efficiently is one of Azalea's weaknesses, needing to connect in order to confer the disruption that she relies so heavily on.
It'll be interesting to see how many defense reactions Austin is holding on to in order to tech against Azalea. Right now, Paul is thumbing a card for the pitch. Yeah, it's a Heat Seeker to activate Death Dealer. Load another arrow, and then draw into that Heat Seeker. I would have to imagine that he's going to be very happy to just set up one more card in the arsenal and send a 6-card hand next turn, this being turn 0.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Paul is also holding on to the long draw half glove for this matchup as well, perhaps scared of Warmonger's diplomacy looming its ugly head. in this Dorinthea deck.
That does make sense. The Warriors and the Ninjas really taking advantage of that card, as they have not a whole lot of non-attack actions, but really love the blue block 3 base.
They do love to send attacks, so they're A-OK with whatever text is on that card. Right now, Austin, however, has drawn up a Command and Conquer, which he's really wanting to set up here because Paul painstakingly put 2 cards in his arsenal.
Yep. Really good card into that exact type of scenario.
Austin might not have a super clean way in which to do it and also refresh his Dynamos, though. This is a good start. It's Spoils of War. Not yet resolved yet. Austin is still thinking about this turn. And while we saw Spoils of War resolved many times in the hands of Colin Erickson, the main part here for the Hatchet's Dorinthea deck is just the buff and go again. The copper tokens are likely not going to get anything like a Blood on Her Hands turn to really utilize them.
Yeah, just a 2 go again is likely what we're seeing here. But with the Command and Conquer sitting there, it's a nice time to have it. I'll just say that.
And Paul is probably doing the thing that every Azalea player should do and immediately think about what cards you can lose from your hand and still have a solid clapback. And that is usually redundant arrows. Normally, Azalea is only sending 1 arrow a turn, unless, of course, you have a ton of Bolton shots and a Rain Razors like Paul might have here. So 4 damage comes across, 2 copper generated there for Austin Chinn. And then it's CNC as the follow-up. Paul thanking his lucky stars that he didn't immediately throw an arrow onto the combat chain for blocks.
And a little bit of silver lining here. Austin is foregoing an arsenal in order to play this. So while it is extremely disruptive and annoying, at least it's not the highest value play that he could have otherwise had.
And at least Paul had the arrows and was not buff locked in order to block this out efficiently.
Yeah, snap block, he seems to be pretty okay with that.
So back over to Paul. 4 life deficit, 36 plays 40. In this, his second turn of the game, Tunic ticks up to 2.
We'll play Release the Tension and send Bolton Shot for 7, go again, reload on hit.
Release the Tension plus Bolton Shot equals 7, go again here. Release the Tension usually showing its stripes here in mid-rangey matchups like this, but in this case, Austin does not have a defense reaction in the arsenal to play anyway, so Paul is coming up a little bit low on the variance this turn.
True.
I'll say no blocks. Sure. No reactions.
No blocks here, no reactions from either player. So Austin descends on down to 33. First blood drawn on the side of the Warrior.
And close chain.
Yep. Paul foregoing the arsenal, which I like because he very likely wants to just get that extra draw out.
Each hero puts a card from their hand.
No, it's a Codex of Blood Rot play.
Codec, yeah.
Austin forced to put a card from hand into arsenal. Unfortunately, he's got a sink below, which is exactly what you want for this kind of situation.
That's
and
true.
Paul puts a drill shot into his arsenal. Instead, curious that he didn't decide to draw the card. I think he's figuring that off of Death Dealer. I think he's figuring that he is going to draw that card either way. So he might as well get a Blood Rot token to boot.
Yeah, makes sense. I like that. A little bit extra value.
Because unless that card is a buff on top, he wouldn't be playing it this turn anyway. And Rangers do love their arsenals, don't they, Michael?
They sure do. And Austin Chinn has another CNC to send, likely pairing it with that Heart of Fiendal to get a little bit of life gain on the back end.
So because a Ponder token has been established for Paul Selinske, he is going to be in the danger zone for CNC once again. But that does mean that 2 have already been utilized early on in this game. That is just something you don't want to be facing down when you are, for example, like protecting an Endless Arrow in the end game or something like that.
And that drill shot hit, right? So should there be a counter?
It did not.
Oh, no.
It did not.
Oh, I didn't see
There was a sink below because he put the sink below in arsenal from the Codex of Blood Rot.
Excuse me.
Correct.
Sorry. I was thinking 7.
It has been a long day, my friend. It's been a lot of words coming out of our mouths.
Yeah, I just thought he played a buff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did on the previous arrow, if that makes you feel better.
I think that's why I thought it.
Yeah, he put a little mayonnaise on it.
Getting set up here now. We got the agility and the vigor coming out. Austin Chinn being efficient with that card. And a nice heal on the back end as Bryce laughs it up. Thinking he's so funny with his mayonnaise jokes.
I know it's not funny, but I'm having a good time. Okay, so it's Command and Conquer. 1 life gained on that Heart of Fiendal. And Paul is staring down plenty of 3 blocks, though.
Yeah.
So it's another CNC. Honestly, like, you know, when you're playing Azalea that you're going to be facing down CNC several times a game.
Yeah.
You just hope it comes at a time like this when you actually have clean ways to block it out.
Yep, and it looks like he's got what he needs and is it's a best case scenario. You don't want to see the 2 CNCs right away, but getting them out of the way early, just kind of doing your homework, getting it done. It's nice. It'll leave him a lot of more breathing room later in the game when it matters.
Especially at a time when you are kind of like incentivized to block with one of each of your important arrows to fill the graveyard with your toolbox for Codex of Frailty.
That's true, and he hasn't seen any of those yet, so... Speaking of Codex of Frailty and CNC, though, that is a little bit of an issue when it comes to playing that card. Giving those CNCs back is going to be a tough thing for him to have to deal with.
Right now, it's the second release the tension of the game for Paul, activating Fiendal's Spring Tunic, probably to activate Death Dealer here.
Load an Endless Arrow.
Looks like he's loading an Endless Arrow. He's got the second copy of Codex of Bloodrot. An interesting situation here. He drew into a Rain Razors.
Right.
So it's Endless Arrow for 7. No D-Reacts from Arsenal, but that's not a problem for Austin because he doesn't have them. That being said, it doesn't look like he has them in hand either this time around.
Yeah. Got that Spill Blood. Nice combo card, but not exactly the card to play next turn. Maybe setting that one in Arsenal for later.
Austin is definitely going to want to do something affirmative, something offensive on his turn because he's established those agility and vigor tokens and probably doesn't want to waste the inherent value there. This deck kind of lives and dies on its sources of go again, and so you want to utilize them whenever you can get them.
True, and actually looking at that Spill Blood, it looks pretty good from realizing there's the agility.
Especially when you don't have to pay for it because the Vigor token. Looks like an activation of Snapdragon Scalers here for Paul. Does that mean we're going to see, it's the Rain Razors. He's going to reload that Endless Arrow with the Codex of Bloodrot, force a blocking card into the arsenal of Austin, which means that this Endless Arrow is almost assuredly hitting twice this turn.
That's some pretty good value there.
It ain't bad.
I like that use of Snapdragon Scalers a lot.
Oh, I love this play from Paul. He's doing this so cleanly. And also, if Austin does elect to go ahead and shove a ton of armor in front of this Endless Arrow just to get rid of it, Paul's got a Ponder token at the ready to refresh the arsenal no matter what.
Yeah.
And so little does Paul know, he's also potentially hampering a really nasty Spill Blood turn, which is exactly how this Dorinthea Hatchets deck pushes the majority of its damage.
And I'm just going to point out, too, he does not have those Valiant Dynamos online with the -1 counter. So, it's coming in for 6 anyway, of course, with the Rain Razors. So, yeah, just taking it, and Paul's got to feel great about that.
A massive life lead for Paul Selinske in this situation. 36 plays 20. Austin, however, knows that this is the majority of his offensive capability, so he's holding on to every single card.
Yeah, he does need to make sure to get that value and refresh those Dynamos so that he can start defending and chip some of that life away. Paul took 4 damage early, and he still hasn't taken any since.
Agility token and Vigor token pops. 1 floating for Austin Chinn, who's at 20 life. Spill Blood is essentially free thanks to that Vigor token, plus Sharpened Senses, which means that this first hatchet has a lot of go again, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
6 dominate, go again.
Pretty good.
You heard it here first, folks. 6 dominate go again on hatchet of, I think he sent, that's hatchet of body.
Right, so I think everything has go again.
It should, especially now that he's swung with one hatchet.
That's a nasty combo.
Sharpened Sense is really showing its stripes here. Not really utilized a whole lot in, say, Fang, but I think this was a card for the older generation of Warriors.
Yeah.
Go again.
And this is guaranteed 3 hatchets coming in. So Paul's going from 36 down to
Bumps by 1. And then you
the teens, almost. Not quite, but he's going to be in the low 20s. That being said, Austin Chinn's at 20, so he's got the life buffer.
And Dorinthea is showing exactly why she is the perfect fit for this hatchet build, because with Sharpened Senses, giving go again to every single one of these hatchets, and Dorinthea saying on her, when you hit with a weapon this turn, you can swing with it an additional time. This is the way you go 3 wide.
Yep. I think we're seeing that right here, 5-6-6, likely.
So even though Paul has bought himself a massive life lead, it's going to change the topography of this game is going to change big time before this turn is over.
He's pretty much cashing it in right here. It's just a question of how much.
And it is all face up for Austin. He even has enough resources to go ahead and pay for Brave Forge Bracers if he so chooses.
I think he needs the 2 more hatchet swings.
Yes, but he also has Tunic
online.
Look at that.
Would you spend that here? One value?
I
Maybe.
think so.
Maybe.
I think you just want to get value wherever
Sure.
you can and start
Yeah.
refreshing the tunic as soon as possible.
And refreshing those dynamos, too, is so important to help out with the breakpoints.
Paul really thinking about this block. We've got an endless arrow in the hand. That's all he could catch before he hit it behind his Barani shoulder.
He will have opportunities later in the chain to block if he decides, but certainly deciding now what cards you can block with is important.
No block, says Paul Selinske, after pulling back that long draw half glove, which means 5 is going to connect and descend him down to 31. And yep, you guessed it, folks. It's another hatchet, this time of mind, coming in for 6 go again, thanks to sharpened senses. Also has dominate.
Yeah.
With Dory. Okay.
There it is.
Wow, so Paul having to reconnect these dots because it has been a while since
Yeah.
we've seen Hatchet Dory. I mean, it was the heavy hitters meta, Pro
Yep.
Tour LA, when we last saw this deck really making waves.
Still a fantastic deck. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised it's been so sparse in the meta.
You know, Fang just does it better.
Maybe.
Sorry, now I'm being a little snide.
Paul just taking 6 more, dropping down to 26.
Should be
And then 6.
I thought it's at 31, so shouldn't it be 5?
Oh,
25?
Yep. Yeah.
Another 6. We're gonna hope that our player's math is better than mine. So even though Austin was able to reduce Paul down to 20 life parity, there was the cheeky matter of a Blood Rot Pox token to deal with. So
Yep.
after that massive turn, Austin still is at a 2 life deficit here.
finally a defense reaction in his hand with a tunic counter available. That's a big deal. As well as a second Spill Blood, which paired correctly is a lot of value.
Oh, and it's an excellent start for Paul here. Premeditate out of the arsenal, and I think because he hasn't blocked with a single card from hand, he's got to have something good locked and loaded at the ready. Looks like he is thumbing a drill shot, destined for the pitch zone, activating Death Dealer, loading that Endless Arrow that hit twice last turn, hopefully drawing a buff.
I think he got the Lace with Inertia,
I
at
think
least.
so
I'm not
too.
sure what the other 2 cards are. 2 buffs come down.
At least with Inertia.
3 buffs come down. That's a big deal.
He really does not want Austin to have an arsenal next turn, so that is 12 plus 4 is 16.
17.
Seek and Destroy.
Why 17?
Ponder and
I don't know.
Endless Arrow back to
Wait.
hand.
Am I?
Should be 16.
Okay.
Yeah, because 3 times 4 is 12,
Yeah.
plus 4 is 16.
Right.
17.
There we go. Catching
We're
it.
doing the counting here, making sure math is all above board.
Yes. 16.
All right, there we go. All cleared up. Thanks to our trench-coated sock puppet producer, Justin Lewog, who doesn't actually exist. 16 damage is nothing to scoff at, especially when your entire life total is 18.
If he gives everything and the fridge, he can stop this, I think.
Oh,
And
but
that
he's found-
might be the time.
Yeah, I tend to agree here. He has found another Spill Blood, though, which
He
is
doesn't have the
unfortunate,
go
yeah.
again tools to pair it with, so I think you just get right. He has the he doesn't even need to use the fridge.
But also,
Yeah,
because, Michael, he didn't cash in the Fiendal Spring Tunic for the Brave Forge Bracers, he has it in order to use Steel Blade Shunt right here.
Huge stop.
So beautifully shored up. Paul is absolutely bummed there. No Ponder token, no Endless Arrow back to hand. Even though he's bought Tempo, Azalea without an arsenal to start the turn is a very different beast.
Yeah, Codex of Frailty here might help him. I'm not sure.
But I think the only arrow is Heat Seeker that he drew up there. Likely going to be pitching this Codex away in
True.
order to hope to draw another buff to pair with that Heat Seeker.
Not to mention those CNCs in Arsenal. Again, it's a brutal tool to have to fight into, so giving it right back to Austin might not be the play.
Definitely something you have to weigh whenever you have a Codex of Frailty in hand. That being said, if it's a turn where you're going to be pushing lethal damage, you would much rather just take away that blocking card from your opponent. Paul is being tempted by that Codex, pitching away a Premeditate, loading a Heat Seeker. And this is the advantage of the New Horizon Azalea list. You can often, in this case, throw away like 2 buffs in this situation, activate Codex of Frailty, find yourself a Bolton shot in the graveyard, and go 2 wide where you otherwise would have gone 1. That being said, he's going to need another pitch in order to play that Heatseeker.
Yeah, does he have a Bolton shot in hand too?
He does.
That's not quite what he wants.
At this point, he's probably going to pitch it to Heatseeker. Like, this is why I'm kind of like, sometimes Codex has to be a pitch card, and that has to be okay with you.
Right. This could be like a long draw turn, but if Austin's on Warmongers and that hits later, that's going to be a... Ooh.
And we end up having to pitch the Codex anyway.
Send a Heatseeker.
So instead of this Heatseeker coming in for 8, it could have been coming in for 11 if we had just committed to pitching Codex of Frailty.
Right.
earlier.
Yeah, I think that Paul was just gambling on getting that additional pump, and he didn't get paid off. That being said, I don't know that he needed to take that risk at this point in the game.
Taking it on the chin, however, is Austin Chinn with 2 blocking cards. That's going to shore up this Heatseeker that could have been so much more. I have to think that was a bit of a misstep for Paul.
Yeah, I agree.
Passing back over to Austin Chinn, who still has a 2-life deficit and 1 card with which to work that agility token. He's hoping that it's a pitch card.
Paul with all the buffs in the world now.
Hatchet of Body comes through. Agility token popped at the beginning of the turn thanks to Take It on the Chin, which means that this Hatchet is coming in for 2 go again. There's a blue in pitch, so what Austin is hoping here is that this Hatchet connects, and he's able to activate Braveforge Bracers to send the second Hatchet.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think this is... Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. So 2 Hatchets coming through... And I think Paul's actually really happy to eat this damage. He's going to be on a Tunic counter next turn for that Death Dealer. And with the number of buffs he has in hand, this is looking like a massive turn for him.
A 5-card hand is exactly what Austin is going to have to face down now. 14 plays 18, but Paul has so much to say about that. I think that was 2 Rain Razors in hand for 1.
I think he Bolton too.
Yeah, he pocketed the Bolton shot, and he's starting off with a Ravenous Rabble.
So he gets the information. Oh, unlucky on the top. That could help him. Maybe not. I don't think he wants to see that.
So if he has another arrow in hand, then he's going to be able to load it up and find that Codex of Inertia, which could be a great way to end this turn. But no, there's no arrows left in the hand of Paul, so it's just going to be that Bolton shot doing work here.
Yeah. 2 Rain Razors coming in for 2 each, not nearly as good as 4 each.
So kind of bricked after just taking everything that Austin had to offer. That being said, it's not like Paul really had any agency there. He had 2 non-blocks in hand and then 2 2-blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, another just sort of lower end value turn. I thought that things lined up, but it was because that Lace with Blood Rot has an arrow on the picture. I thought it was an arrow card.
And Austin's really happy here because Dynamos are refreshed. He has a plethora of 3 blocks with which to work, so it's probably just going to be 2 cards plus boots in order to shore this up. Paul at least is going to be able to sneak through that really cheeky on-hit of Lace with Blood Rot because I don't see a defense reaction for Austin.
Yeah, no defense reaction, no arsenal, so he's certainly on the back foot, but Dorinthea's really happy to give a couple cards on defense as long as she has that go again in hand. She can do that really high value 2-card play, and this is really the axis that I think Dorinthea wants to be playing on. Block a few cards, have them play a little low value turn, and then you come back with an extremely high value double Hatchets, refresh Dynamos.
And unfortunately, I'm not seeing the source of go again here.
Okay, well
It's
that
in
matters.
the swing Blade Flurry and Valiant Dynamos. Rain Razors comes out of the hand of Paul, pushing this up to 9. 2 damage leaks through. Paul probably astutely holding on to... oh my goodness! He's going to activate Azalea and get that Codex of Inertia.
Oh, I think it was a Codex of Blood Rot.
It's Codex of Inertia. Sure, yeah, 100%.
Okay. You would know.
Oh, I love this play, Paul. This is so dope right here. Okay, Rain Razors goes to the bottom of the deck. We have seen the Codex of Inertia already, and there it is off the top of the deck, which means that Paul gets to play that and keep going wider. He's also going to force Austin to put a card from the top of the deck into the arsenal and then discard a card.
That's awesome. So it matters a lot that this is an arrow, right? If this isn't an arrow for Paul, And it wasn't. I think it was a read the glide path.
That is very unfortunate for Paul. That being said, he is still giving his opponent an inertia token, which is so important. He's also forcing Austin to discard a source of go again. So unless that is exactly what he found off of the Codex of Inertia, then Paul's going to be feeling really good.
It's true. And, ending the turn, he has the Ponder too, though, which is a bit of a waste. Yeah, just really gambling on that arrow.
Doesn't matter.
It is what it is. Sometimes Azalea plays a
And
little
there's
bit
the
like a
Bolton
slot
shot.
machine.
He's feeling sad seeing that one right there.
He is indeed, but he's still done a lot of work against Austin.
Yeah, 2-card hand, one of them's a blue. It is a hit and run, but he doesn't get the +3, which is something.
That's an entire card for go again. Paul's happy with
Yeah.
that exchange. And also, he guarantees that Austin can't have a defense reaction in Arsenal, which is usually the silver bullet for our ace in the hole.
And he's finally giving up these long draw half gloves. No, he keeps reaching for it. I'm putting him back. No blocks.
No blocks once again. Paul teasing us again by thumbing his half glove. Activating Brave Forge Bracers and swinging Hatchet of Mind is Austin Chinn, which means another 4.
So a nice 2-card 7.
2-card 6, but
Well, refreshing the Dynamos.
Fair. You know what? I do warrior math now. I should have known better.
Paul giving up a card. Probably a little arrow heavy if that's his choice.
Yep, I definitely think he was a little bit redundant in his arrows.
2 from the Blood Rot's nice.
So 11 plays 11 here, and Austin is once again without an arsenal, which means that he's susceptible to Codex of Frailty shenanigans, Codex of Inertia shenanigans. I don't know if Paul has it here.
The opt could be nice.
Oh, what is it, Paul? I think it's a red in the ledger.
Ooh.
Based on that corner of the card.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm going to see if I can Alton Brown it and get the soul read there.
He's thinking.
I don't know why I'm saying red in the
tanking
ledger.
on
I
it.
can't read that.
Let's just say that it is.
Why not? There are 2 arrows in the hand of Paul, one of which is going to have to be devoted to the pitch, though. So I would imagine that he's going to pitch the Bolton shot, load the drill shot, and send. Oh, no, he does have Tunic on 3, so he could, if it is another arrow, even if it's a 1 cost, Paul could pitch a red.
Bottom it.
Doesn't like it.
Doesn't like it.
Probably
whatever
an arrow
it is.
in that case.
Yep.
He is playing Casino Azalea today. Just blind and off the top.
Love this. Activating Tunic to probably load the Bolton shot.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Drawing that card.
Ooh.
Finds another buff. Yes, Paul. The variance is coming back
If he
his way
sees
now.
Another... Oh, he just goes for it. He just shoots it.
6, go again, read
That is kind of questionable here because he's already activated Death Dealer. So if Austin blocks this out, then Paul's turn is over.
Just like that.
Just like that. Unless he activates Quiver of Rustling Leaves.
Pretty sure it's 1.
He's thinking about Rain Razors. Austin's like, there's no way you just send this
I don't think you pitched one.
blind.
There is still one left in the deck for Paul, but that is
Why? Oh.
so risky to go for this
We
line.
just have a codex after. So
Yeah, the real punish for Austin is the Codex afterwards.
Right.
We know that Paul just doesn't have it, though.
Is
So Paul literally needs this attack to hit. Otherwise, he IPs
Yeah.
2.
This is too risky. I don't like this. He has an out if Austin Chinn, because Austin Chinn's trying to soul read this and go like, oh, there's no way you play this risky. You must have something.
Which sometimes can be an absolute advantage. And, you know, I am a fairly risk-averse person when it comes to situations like this, but Austin has to be thinking, like, there is a follow-up. There's no way this turn is just over if I block out Bolton shot. Because you can also, in this situation, if Paul was holding on to the Codex of Frailty, this is absolutely the correct line, because then you can put the buffs where they actually matter on the arrow with the on-hit in your graveyard. If you can force your opponent to block what they think will end your turn, then you can punish them on the back end.
Blocking 6.
Blocks are good. Close chain.
Wait.
Unless he has a take aim and he can reload.
Oh, that must be it.
I'll play.
Oh, thank goodness! Oh my
okay.
goodness!
Woo!
I didn't see the take aim, folks. So I was was absolutely reeling.
I was like, Paul wouldn't do that.
Okay, we're all good. We're all good. Paul knows what he's doing. There's no question about that. What we're hoping now is that he is revealing, excuse me,
Could it be an
a
endless?
zero-cost arrow? No.
Oh,
No,
it's
it's a searing shot.
Searing shot.
It's not heat seeker, so he can
Okay.
absolutely flip with Azalea and gain dominate on this arrow, which
Yeah.
even though it's not like as meaningful of an on-hit as drill shot, dominate is so relevant right here.
It is. It is. You really want to just. That being said, okay.
And here it
Austin
goes.
still has his fridge.
That he does. So even though the life totals are the same at the moment, there is an effective life total that we have to contend with on Austin's side of the board. So here we go. 10, dominate, lose 1 life on hit.
All doing his best Marlin cosplay.
And kind of kiss of death in a certain respect.
Yeah. Austin with 5 block in the fridge.
Looks like it is Valiant Dynamos plus Brave Forge Bracers.
2 cards in hand, and he wants to keep them. Like, if he's not sending anything back and he just lets Paul do 5 card hand after 5 card hand after 5 card hand, he's not going to be in a good spot.
Which the one thing going for Austin here is that there is no possibility of a 5-card hand for Paul.
Yeah.
There's no, like, this isn't an endless arrow. This isn't going to connect and then go right back into Arsenal. There's no ponder token to worry about.
And he does have a nice red blade runner in his hand, so that's a big deal for the hatchets. It's a lot of damage coming Paul's way next turn. Not quite lethal, but certainly getting him close to it.
Blocking 3, taking 8.
Blocking 3, taking 8 here. 7
Wow.
from the actual attack, and then 1 from the searing shot. So Paul is really close to closing out this game. This is kind of an inevitability factor for Azalea. I mean, there's so few new heroes that are having that keyword dominate written on them for this exact reason. It's such a powerful effect.
Just the 2 into 6 refresh dynamos.
It'll be 2 into 6 only if he activates Brave Forge Bracers here because it's a yellow.
Is it a yellow?
It's
Oh,
a yellow Blade
excuse me.
Runner in hand.
Okay. Paul just playing around with his armor once again.
I wonder what his thinking is, like why he's holding it back so much. I think he's probably thinking about that 3rd CNC.
Yeah, there is one more CNC. But this time he says it's close enough to the end of the game. I don't want to miss out on the 1 block value if I do need to use the long draw half glove. And he commits it finally.
Not currently.
Not currently.
Not currently.
Oh no, Paul's still thinking about the half claw block.
Wow.
Half glove, not half claw.
Right. This isn't KO.
My tongue is very fatigued by the end of this game.
Wait, that was good, though. He has 1 arm, the half claw.
Yeah, half claw.
Sorry, I had to just point
Got
that out.
him.
That was good.
Sucks to have 1 arm when you
I
could have 2.
I needed you to notice that.
You're not even a dad yet. Okay, so it is Blade Runner. No activation of the Brave Forge Bracers here.
And Paul's got a lot of buffs in hand, all right? Thinking about just taking it.
Wait, why no activation of the Brave Forge Bracers? Do we do the math wrong?
This is 3 resources, 2 hatchet swings and a...
and a Blade Runner.
He's holding
Yeah,
onto
yeah,
that
yeah.
tunic
Yep.
resource for the D-React. I'm almost sure, because that saved him before, and now...
Dude, I'm so dagger-pilled. my resource curve is all about Fang. I think about Fang from dawn till dusk.
There you go.
Paul cashing in that New Horizon block when there is no Arsenal, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
He's also got a Bolton shot in hand and a take aim. So there's only 1 arrow. He could slot machine and try to find a different buff off the top with Death Dealer or like another arrow to send. But in this case, I kind of want to just throw all the buffs on the table and send Bolton shot.
I do too. And it just, we're at that point. He's at 3 life. If you pull all the cards from his hand,
Paul says, no, I'm going to go for it.
then he gets a go again arrow.
Which is not bad for the Arsenal at the end of the turn. But I don't know. I kind of want to use that take aim to instead buy as much tempo as I possibly can.
Yeah.
In this case, Paul will definitely be set up better next turn.
Right.
If he's able to force enough blocks out of Austin.
The frailty's real nice on hit here. Austin with 3 block on the table, 4 if you include the tunic. So he still has some armor to work with.
Austin has plenty of pitch, and he also has a go again card in hit and run.
Okay.
Probably codex
But-
of frailty.
He's
Oh
thinks
my
everything's
gosh.
codex of frailty.
Thinks everything's Codex.
Yeah.
This is a random draw off the top for Paul, though. Technically, one of those buffs could have been the random draw.
Right.
A sink below in hand for Austin. Can help him cover that up nicely.
That is true.
There's not a super clean block here, though.
I mean, I want to just reach for the armor and give 2 cards.
Yeah.
Frailty would be the worst.
Frailty would be the worst.
You haven't seen a frailty. It has to be frailty.
Does it have to be Frailty, Paul? Does it have to be?
It can block.
Which we know that Paul has seen one. He did pitch one
Yeah,
earlier.
he had to
Austin
pitch
may
it in
have
that
forgotten.
one clunker.
Yeah, which if we had pitched it earlier, Austin might be -3 life and dead at this point.
Austin is sweating right now, though.
I don't blame him. I'm sweating over here.
Yeah. Tight game. Despite the life totals being more than double in Paul's favor, he really needs to hold on to this tempo because he just doesn't block all that well. And the Hatchet Valiant Dynamo's refresh is so much value. It's kind of like the same axis that we see on Fang when the game gets late. It's just like, and you got to worry about attack reactions. So as soon as Paul gets into lethal range, it's a big deal.
In this situation, I kind of like if it is Codex in Paul's hand, I kind of no, that's not a good.
So Austin going for
This is 7. It would take
7.
It would also be a
Wow.
Get on the chin.
rain razors would be crazy.
Rain Razors would indeed be crazy, Austin. It would spell the end of the game. Paul is just loving this. Look,
Yeah.
he's yucking it up. This is exactly what you want to be doing to your opponent as Azalea ace in the hole.
And I will say, I think Austin's certainty that this is a Codex of Frailty is hurting him because it's causing him not to block with an additional card in his hand. Anticipating needing to put it in his arsenal means that he thinks he'll die if he gets another arrow to the face and can't block it. So
Yeah.
instead, choosing to keep the cards in hand, which aren't going to help him. Like a D-React right now, it will be nice for him to arsenal, but it's not going to convert into anything on the offensive turn.
Yeah, if Austin had perfect information about this turn, I think he would have just thrown the 3/3 blocks in front of the Bolton shot, pocketed the sink below,
Oh,
and
for
passed.
sure, for sure.
Sometimes the mind game is enough for the game, folks. And Paul has reloaded that Falcon Wing from the hand. He's wondering if he should send it or not. He's got to be scared of Austin on 3 cards. There's no doubt about that. So
Yeah,
yes, indeed,
you
Falcon
definitely
Wing
wanna
comes
strip
out.
it.
And Austin looks
Yeah.
to the heavens. I got Codex pilled.
Yeah. Yeah, so he has one too many cards, and he'll probably just go ahead and lose 1 value on the sink below here so that he can have a turn and not die. But he would have loved to arsenal that.
He wishes he could reach up his nose
Yeah.
into his mind and pull the thought of Codex of Frailty
Yeah.
out of his brain in the past.
He misread the situation, and you have to make reads like that in a spot like he's in, but just didn't read correctly, and instead it was another arrow that he could only play because he was able to connect with the Bolton shot.
Yeah, he's still shaking his head. He's so upset at the follow-up there. Paul is just so happy right here. Did not. Yeah,
Slight
there's
little
the
smile
smile.
under
There's
that
the wry
mustache.
smile, Paul. He's an absolute sweetheart, but he does love to win games of flesh and blood.
He's a competitive boy.
So now Austin is thinking, how do I make best use of this hand? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be lose a little bit of block value on this sink below, unfortunately.
No sync? Yeah. All right.
No sync right here. Austin wants the confirmed 2 Hatchet Swing Refresh Dynamos right here, even though it's going to be hampered by the Frailty. Things are
The
coming
Frailty.
all up,
I forgot
Paul.
about that. That is a huge deal here. Instead of it being a 2-card 6, it's a 2-card 3, 4.
There's that Codex of Frailty.
Hey.
Austin was only 1 turn away. So right now, Paul has complete agency to say no blocks here and forever.
Yeah.
Taking 1 is Paul Selinske. Activating Brave Forge Bracers is Austin Chinn. Coming in for 3. 2 life saved on that Frailty token.
Yeah. Really big deal that he was able to get that out.
And no defense reaction for Austin Chinn because Seek and Destroy is there.
And because he played it.
Yeah, sorry. No possibility of a
Yeah,
defense
of
reaction, I
course.
should say. Paul has all the information he needs. It's a take game, probably reloading this Bolton shot. Oh, my goodness. And then he's going to do it to Austin again. He's going to say, here comes a Bolton shot once more. Do I have the codex
reload
this
or
time?
not? Oh, no.
He's doomed. There's nothing.
He said it. He just brought up the frailty. He's like, please don't have the frailty this time.
There is nothing to be done at this point. There
Oh
are
my
attacks
gosh.
in the graveyard of Austin Chinn, which means that all of these cards are going to be devoted to the block. Sure, it's going to shore up the damage, but then Paul goes Codex of Frailty, discard the last card in your hand, come in for the end.
Oh, my gosh.
It's all over here.
And Austin just praying,
Paul's
no
the one that
frailty,
knows
no
it.
frailty, please.
So there it is, a perfect 10 and the
Yeah,
Codex of Frailty.
there
Austin
it
extends
is.
the fist bump, and it's all over.
Wow.
Paul completely redeems himself not only from the last match against Evan Bridges, but also against his nemesis, Austin Chinn, who he faced in the finals of the February Open.
And now Paul is 4-2. We don't know for sure if this locks him into top 8, but he's certainly better off than being 3-3. So looking forward to see how the cards fall when we see our final pairings and who makes it and who doesn't in that final cut.
Regardless of whether he makes top 8 or not, that was an impressive showing from Paul. There may have been a bit of a misstep on the holding back the Codex from the pitch earlier on, but still, he played cleanly otherwise, and he got there in the end against a deck that is all numbers.
Yeah, well played by Paul, well played by Austin, and this time in the rematch, Paul comes up W. Congratulations.
Big W, not Bush, but Selinske is Paul. And we have to take this moment to thank our sponsors. The place we're sitting in right now is Top Deck Keep in Riverside, California. They have been an amazing sponsor of AGE LA all year long. We are happy to call this store our home. They've been nothing but supportive. Massive thank you to owner Jeff and Tyler Horspool, of course, our consigliere from the Flesh and Blood community, a Prism player to boot, the man that broke on the scene, Reality Refractor Enigma, and also just an all-around swell guy. He's not here today, but I am sure that he is here in spirit. We'll go to a short break, and then we will be back with more Flesh and Blood action after this.
Welcome back, folks. I'm joined here with Paul Selinske, winner of the last round before top 8, playing Azalea, ace in the hole, taking it by just a hair. How you feeling after that game, Paul?
My heart is racing.
I think all of ours are.
I've definitely got the adrenaline still running, but oh man, Hatchets it's a crazy deck because you're just on a value clock.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And yeah, I just had to kind of trust in the New Horizon Death Dealer value engine and just try to like send it. Just keep sending it.
Well, can you just kind of walk me through the game from beginning to end? Tell me about the ups and downs and where you were feeling good and where you were feeling bad.
Yeah. I felt like we were trading really well early. The turns he sent, Austin sent the CNCs.
Yeah.
I was like really happy to have like some redundant arrows, and so I could kind of pad the life. And I think back-to-back rolled the Codex of Blood Rots to just like free roll.
Those Codex of Blood Rots looked great when you played them.
Yeah.
And we were just talking on stream when they were played that the CNC timing was really great for you because you just get it out of the way. I kind of said it's like getting your homework done a week beforehand. You just don't need to worry about them anymore.
Yeah.
And just you had the arrows to block, so you just now you're clean and ready to go and don't need to worry about that in the future. So that definitely felt like it landed in your favor. Later on in the game, though, it felt like you maybe hit some clunkers, and there was a little bit of clawing back as that life hit parity at one point, 20-20, before the blood drop popped.
Yeah.
How was that feeling? What was going through your mind in the middle there?
In the middle, I was kind of just like worried about a fatigue game state of like, oh no, like if I just keep sending kind of unevasive arrows with nothing, this is going to be a problem. So I kind of had to navigate some weird hands, and like I think there was the turn with the Bolton shot for 9.
Yeah.
And
Are you talking the end game?
Oh yeah, maybe I'm jumping to the end
There's
game.
a couple of them, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean the middle game was kind of a blur. Like it's all kind of a blur where it's just like, all right, here's the best hand I can send.
Sure.
What's the best numbers you got back? You kept seeing me like grab the long draw of being like,
we did see that. A lot of like,
Yeah, I was like, do I cash it in now? Like the CNCs are gone. Like,
right.
I don't know. And then, mid game, I was just kind of like, just send the bill. Like, if it's not CNC, like, I'm going to try to roll as big of a hand as I can. And like,
Yeah, there was one turn kind of in the middle of the game, if you do watch it back, where I think you pitched a premeditate and then ended up pitching the Codex of Frailty later afterwards. And Bryce and I were talking about how sometimes you just have to get rid of that Codex, even though they feel so good. It's your power card. When it doesn't line up, getting it out and just having that extra pitch for the next arrow. And that exact scenario came up. How did you feel when that landed?
you know, I wasn't too sad about that turn.
Yeah.
I think he was off Arsenal that turn. So, you know, Heatseeker and a Blood Rot, it's kind of like, yeah, give me a 6-card hand or block it out. I'm fine either way. I'm taking less damage or I'm doing more damage.
Yeah.
So it's always sad to like send codexes to the pitch zone, but yeah.
Speaking of 16-card hands, that one endless arrow that you pumped up to 16 and he was able to block out with the tunic counter, that was heartbreaking, and a little bit heartbreaking, but certainly you had so much tempo that game that like every time he gives you everything, it's nice because that means he's not getting the boots value, he's not getting the hatchets value.
Yeah.
So
the endless arrow turn was between an endless arrow and a drill shot.
right,
And
okay.
my thinking was,
No shot he blocks this, right?
I mean, either I send the drill shot
Yeah.
and I get the -1 on the boots and like deny that value engine, or I'm just going to take all of his armor and full tempo with the biggest endless arrow I could possibly send. And like, in a way, it's just kind of a crazier drill shot.
yeah, that's a good point. Still
So-
gets the armor.
Yeah, I was happy to see all that cleared
Yeah.
up. And from there, it was just kind of like, okay, now let's navigate the end game here.
Right, and as you were saying, it all came down to these 2 9-power Bolton shots, and I saw Austin was just trying to predict what that last card was in hand. Actually, Bryce and I didn't realize you had to take Aemon on the first one. I think it was coming in for 6.
Yeah.
We thought you risked it all to load from the Bolton shot. We were so upset with that play until you played the take aim.
No.
Yeah.
No, that would have been a big
Yeah,
misstep.
we wiped our brows when you played that.
Yeah. No, I was he guessed right just a turn early.
Yep.
So
And man, the timing on that was just so great. Pulling the last card from his hand and sending in lethal. What a great end to a great game.
yeah, no. Great game, and Austin is just a great player, and it's so fun to just get to keep playing him on stream.
Yeah,
and,
I love to see you now. This is like the second high stakes game.
Yes.
Really, like this was a possible win and in for both of you. Still have to check to see the way everything lands. We don't have that information yet, but it really seems like this was an important game regardless. And then of course the one that we saw you in last, not today, but the last time you faced him was for first place
Right.
at the Hunted draft tournament, and he took it there.
Yeah.
So now you've got a little bit of a back and forth on camera with him, maybe a bit of a rivalry brewing.
Yeah, no, I actually watched that game again this week. I don't know. I was looking
Wow.
for fab content to
Sure,
watch
you're
at
like,
work.
I've got
and
my own.
Yeah, it was
cool.
kind of meant to be to play Austin again today. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always a great time. And
For that win, and you couldn't have asked for a better pairing.
Yeah.
And for you to take it and just keep that back and forth alive.
Oh, yeah.
Really
Oh,
happy
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Dude, great games. Do you have any shout outs, any comments you want to make before we wrap this interview up?
Shout out to my coworkers watching right now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Altadena, our community.
Yeah.
We love so much.
Yep.
And, this community's kind of been my home away from home. Mm-hmm. And it just means so much to me to be here and play with everyone. And, shout out to the Attack Action boys. They've done a lot for me. So,
Cool,
just
man.
love this community.
Good vibes all around. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for the interview.
Mike, love you,
Good
buddy.
luck on this call-in right here.
Yeah.
And I think I've got to end it. So see you guys in a bit when we've got our top 8.